everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. This is so much fun to do. We keep doing them.
Yeah, welcome back.
Let's do it.
To the Match Grade Podcast.
So, this episode, Matt and I are going to share the top 5 guns that we want to shoot but never have.
We have never had a chance to shoot for whatever reason.
Yeah.
All right, we'll tell you why.
Yeah. It was kind of funny. It's like I'm sitting there thinking about this list, going, I don't know if there's so many guns out there. It's like
guns. Lots of guns.
I'm thinking of what guns I haven't shot,
right,
that I would like to shoot. So
yeah, Ed tested us on this one.
Yeah.
He really pulled this one out of the back door, behind the file cabinet, underneath the folder that's on the floor that's been there for 30
I like it though. This is a good topic.
Yeah. So let's see. So some of the things we're going to talk about is, how about reasons why we couldn't shoot these guns?
Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
There's a couple of them. Legalities.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just illegal for
Yeah.
normies like us to have them. Availability. I don't know. Maybe they don't exist anymore, or they're hard to find.
Hard to find, rare.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Price.
Yeah, that's a big one on my list. Price.
A couple of ones I put on here are
the
average civilian ain't going to be affording this one.
Yeah.
And rarity. So we had a wide range of stuff. It's like whatever, right?
It was anything we wanted, right? Yeah.
Caliber, foreign rifle, right? All stuff. So I don't know. Why don't you go first?
Okay.
And we'll see what happens.
I literally put these down as they came to my mind. Like the first one that came to my mind is the now Daniel Defense H9.
The all-new Daniel H9 looks ahead of its time because it is. It's the reinvention of shot control, an absolute control freak, developed by Daniel Defense to help you achieve your highest potential as a marksman.
Okay.
Which originally was the Hudson H9 a few years ago. So it's a 9mm pistol that has a unique operating system where the recoil assembly is above the barrel, which lowers the bore access. It is kind of a clunky, chunky looking pistol, but people I know that have shot it, some videos I've seen of it, with switching the recoil system and lowering the bore access, the recoil, the time back on target is super fast.
Okay.
And I don't know why I've been intrigued with it since I first saw a video of it on YouTube. Somebody was talking about it, and I started reading about it and doing some research. And I was disappointed because Hudson went out of business, and I know there was another company that bought the rights, and they were trying to get it going. And then a little while ago, maybe a year, even just a year ago, Daniel Defense actually had bought the rights to the design.
They decided to play with it
and is making them, and they're, I don't know, a little over $1,000, $1,300. So it's not a cheap pistol, but it's certainly not one of the, with everybody running out and buying staccatos, it's really not one of the most expensive pistols out there either. So I'd like to shoot one and try it out, and maybe someday buy one.
So based on your recollection, if what was the reasoning behind trying to do that? Just to see if it could be done? Is that one of those?
I think the original engineer was kind of like, let's see if we can do this. But I think they wanted to make a gun that had very minimal muzzle flip. Very, very quick return follow-up shots on target. So that was kind of the idea. So yeah, H9, that's my first one that came to mind, at least. So,
right.
Yeah.
All right. So mine, although I've shot pistols that have been suppressed, I never got the chance to shoot a suppressed rifle. And I think that would be fun to do. I know friends of mine that have all the gear to do it. I could probably meet up with them, travel to their place and do it. But the chance never really aligned. The stars never aligned for me, and I never got a chance to do it. So I think that would be interesting to do and fun to do, just for the experience to have it in real life.
So it's a different experience than I think most people think it is. That's all I'm really gonna say. You find out, but
I know.
I've shot suppressed rifles, and it is different. It's not what you think it's gonna be.
All right, you're next. What do you got?
We're going old school here. My second, the LeMat revolver. So, and it does not just because it's got the word Matt.
Yeah.
So this is a Civil War era revolver designed for cavalry use mostly.
Okay.
And it was a cylinder revolver, obviously, that had either 36 or 42 caliber rounds.
Oh,
Black powder. So we're talking black powder. So, decent size, right? But then it had a single barrel underneath the main barrel that was a shotgun barrel in either 16 or 20 gauge.
And this is our standard issue pistol. It's quite unique, as you'll see. It also fires a shotgun cartridge for use in messy, close-range situations.
So
just for a little extra emphasis.
yeah, so I think the idea originally was it was designed for cavalry use, and the shotgun barrel was designed for use against horses.
Okay.
So it kind of makes a little extra punch, knock down the enemy's horses. Now they lose their mobility, and then you had 6 rounds of pistol ammunition to fight with. Yeah, but it's a big, giant, kind of clunky revolver. It just looks kind of cool, and I've always never had a chance. Always want to shoot them. Of course they aren't readily available. At least they weren't. There is a company making reproductions of them now, but even the reproductions I think run like over $2,000 for this thing. So and it's still black powder. So yep.
So
yeah.
You know what? Look at our selection criteria. Legality is if it's black powder, you can still have
You can own it anywhere. Yeah, pretty much.
Availability is a little
Pretty low.
limited, right?
Price is up
Who
there.
knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rarity, getting originals. Originals go for thousands of dollars. Thousands. So.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody would want to shoot an original.
I don't know if I want to shoot original, but a repro, I'd shoot it if I could get my hands on one.
Yeah.
So yeah,
go.
little map
So
revolver.
if anybody's got one of these, call this guy.
Yeah, nice.
You will make his year.
Always wanted to.
All right.
What do you got next?
My second one. This was kind of weird. We were talking beforehand, and you guys are like, "What?" So in the gun clubs, we in the circles we run in different clubs. We've got sporting clays guys, we've got trap guys, and they've all got these really, really expensive shotguns.
This is my boomstick. S-Mart's top of the line. You can find this in the sporting goods department.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And I've held one.
Yeah.
I held one that was like $13,000. I was afraid to breathe on it.
Yeah. Good luck.
Let alone this guy's running out there shooting it. But they're serious about their craft here. But I've never shot one.
Yeah.
Semi or breech break or whatever. I've just never shot one.
All right.
And I think it would be interesting to shoot one. Just maybe through a round of of trap or whatever. But I think it was just get to the range.
Yeah.
Give me some ammo. Let me experience this thing.
Yeah.
Let me experience what it's like to shoot that $13,000 to $20,000 shotgun that is just tricked out like crazy.
See if it's like driving a Ferrari versus driving a Chevy, right?
Yeah, right. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I just that popped into my head.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a different one. Yeah.
Like I said, I've held ones that's like, wow, okay, that's like a month's salary for.
Yeah.
Here you go. Thank you. And they tell me there's guys that they get loans out to buy these shotguns.
I'm not surprised on that. I've seen them. They're really high end and they're really expensive.
You go to some of these national matches, and I'm sure like that $13,000 shotgun.
That's probably a low end.
Us showing up to a shotgun class with an 870.
Yeah,
it's like that's the workhorse. But here's the good ones.
God,
wow. Yeah, so it's just for the experience. Nothing else.
That's cool.
I can guarantee you one factor that's would keep me from owning one is the price.
Yeah, right. Right.
I could buy like 26 Glocks with that.
26. Or
said that just for Ed.
Yeah. Or two staccatos.
Or a couple staccatos, yeah, maybe. All right, well, that's my number 2 one. What's yours?
All right, next one, number 3. So, classic H&K MP5, but suppressed. So, integral suppressed.
Yeah,
H&K MP5.
Everything's clear outside. You got 30 seconds max. Haul ass.
I've seen them. I've never actually been able to hold one. I've seen them in like a museum. but I've never been able to hold one. But I've always been intrigued by the MP5
I think
and
price-
the suppressed price, availability. I think this hits all of them: legalities, availability, price, rarity, especially here in the U.S.
Yeah.
Probably not too many around.
I don't know.
I may never get the chance unless I run into that
Go to
right person.
a nice friendly country in Europe, and I'm sure there's a way.
There might be, rental ranges over there.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. But it's just,
Very cool.
that H&K slap,
Yeah.
dropping the bolt and lender rock and
You're just gonna
Yeah.
grunt and like scream
Oh, yeah.
roar when you do that. Right?
absolutely
Like Tim Allen. You're going, let's go.
let it go, man. Yeah, so the MP5 suppressed. That would be my third.
That's
third
cool.
choice.
Yeah. That would be
Yep,
cool.
I think it's a cool gun.
All right, this one's a fun one. I've held one of these, never shot it. It wasn't a working model.
Oh, it was like a dummy
It was,
mock-up?
well, no, it was a real one.
Oh, okay.
But it had just it was degraded to the point where it just
Oh,
fired.
it was not working. Okay.
Yeah. An M3 grease gun.
Oh, yeah, classic. Classic. End of World War II grease gun.
Yeah, you see him in the movies. It's like,
How many krauts left up there?
I don't know. We got 7 in one blow.
I remember reading up about it because I was curious.
Yeah.
And it was like, they called it a grease gun because it looked like a mechanic's
It looked
grease
like a
gun.
mechanic. Yeah, and the quality was about the same. It was very,
Yeah,
very,
right.
slapped together.
I think they were, when like, if I remember correctly, they were made as a smaller alternative to the Thompson. The machine
Yeah,
gun, right?
cheaper too. That was the big
Yeah,
thing.
definitely cheaper.
Thompsons were hundreds of dollars, and those were dollars.
Yeah, probably.
Like literally dollars.
Yeah.
So yeah. But they worked, and the GIs loved them.
Yeah.
The GIs loved them. My uncle had one. He had one in Korea when he was in the Korean War, and he actually had an M3 at one point.
Keep
And
oiled up, and you get
He
run hot
he
ammo.
said
and that
it
thing will
would
just
it
go.
would run. Yeah, no problem. So yeah,
I don't know if you got to clear a room, that'll work.
just goes down. Full auto only.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. Like no semi, just full. Yeah.
You got a really good trigger control on this
45 ACP, man.
Yeah.
That's caliber.
I remember picking it up, and it was chunky.
It's chunky.
Clunky.
Yeah, they're chunky.
And it's like, where do you hold on to it? Like you hold on here, you hold it here, then you
You're literally like holding the magazine.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was just kind of weird, and I wanted to shoot it, but the guy that was at the event, he's like, nope, that one will not shoot, and I don't want to try to make it shoot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he
Wow.
says, yeah,
That's
this
a good
is just
choice.
an experience. Yeah,
I like it.
I figured it'd be interesting.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
All right, what do you got?
Well, we're going back to World War II again here. German MG42. So the classic German, every war movie when I was a kid had the MG42.
Okay.
I've shot other machine guns, never had the opportunity to shoot an MG42.
Okay.
Highest cyclic rate of almost any machine gun, World War II or after. The GIs knew where these guns were by the noise they made. As a matter of fact, I tried to think they called it like the devil's paintbrush or something like that, because it would just lay down a swath of fire and cut everything down in its path.
Wow.
So I've always wanted to shoot one. I've never had the opportunity, but it is a pretty wild gun, pretty classic gun.
Yeah.
And every machine gun, pretty much modern machine gun, is based on that design.
Okay.
So
So it's one of the originators. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the original, German MG42. So yeah.
Okay. Well, so my next one for the civilian, it's legality, probably near impossible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Availability, well, they're in certain locations,
And
but
only
they're
in those-
not readily available.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Only those locations.
The price to own it
Woo!
is unbelievable. I don't, tens of millions probably.
It's up there.
The price to shoot it is probably in the hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
Okay. Ed's like, I don't,
He's like, what is this?
rarity? Well, I don't know.
I mean,
For the civilian, very extremely rare. Probably
non-existent.
they're like the unicorn, right?
Yep.
Maybe rarer than a unicorn.
I
And
gotta think there's someone that's got one, right? A test, a sample. I don't know.
I don't know.
Man.
probably guys that
Wow.
work on them get to have a lot of fun. And to
That-
them, it's like, whatever.
Right.
But This one just popped in my head. I don't know why.
It's an
but
interesting choice.
I think it would be so cool to sit in it and just press the trigger for maybe about 4 seconds. Okay? The Sea-Wiz. The Phalanx close-in weapon system. Come on.
Yeah.
Killing with Sea-Wiz.
So, guys, if you don't know what this is, right, this is the thing they have on ships that shoots down the missiles.
Yeah.
So that's what he's
This
talking
thing
about.
puts out 4,500 rounds a minute. 75 a second. That's why I said like 4 or 5 seconds. Okay?
Yeah,
and it's not shooting little BBs.
No.
Yeah. This is anti-missile defense.
Gatling
maybe
gun.
boat defense if you
Boat
need it.
defense, yeah, Gatling gun.
Right? This is, I've watched real life
God.
videos when they test fired or they're using it, and it is just impressive. Okay? You just want to jump up and down and scream, yeah, America, when that thing goes off, right?
Yeah.
It's just, come on. There's some cool factor to it, but I'll tell you, it hits all the no's on our criteria.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't legal for that civilian. There's no way I'm going to be able to afford it. I don't know any civilians that can probably afford this thing. Like I said, I don't know any. I'm sure there's some of them out there that will.
Wow.
Price and rarity? It might as well be that rarer than a unicorn because
that's a good one.
for the civilian, you ain't getting behind that sucker unless you know somebody who knows somebody and who can get away with something.
Even that, man. Wow.
Can you just imagine?
Wow.
That would be cool.
I mean, I've seen them on ships, mounted on ships, but that's it. Never in person seen them fire, nothing.
No.
That's pretty wild.
And I'm sure a couple of our instructors can talk about them. They've probably been on the ships that have had them.
We're
But
talking about you, Mike.
yeah, Mike. He always claims he's not involved in any podcasts. We just got you involved.
That's
in
right. We just get a shout out.
So yeah, that
That's a
would be
good one.
mine.
I like
that
it.
just popped in my head as like what the hell,
Why not?
right?
Why not?
All right, what's next on your list?
I think actually looking, I got the Browning BAR. Again, another World War One, and especially World War Two.
that would be something.
Squad automatic type weapon.
Yeah.
The Browning BAR. I've always wanted to shoot one. I've held them. I've seen people shoot them. I've never had the opportunity to shoot it. It's just one of those iconic all-American, weapons that designed by John Moses Browning, and just something that looks freaking cool.
Would that round out the collection?
Yeah, actually,
Right?
that would for my collection.
1911.
Yeah, 1911, the
Browning-
Garand,
yeah,
the
the
M1
Garand,
Carbine,
yep.
a Browning B. They got a whole squad worth of weapons there now.
There you go, yeah.
But a BAR, yeah, I've always
That would be kind of cool.
I've always wanted to shoot one. I would, like to own one. I mean, there is semi-auto, civilian legal new guns being made. They're making versions of them still. So
And that would still be fun at the range.
even a semi-auto version of that,
Yeah.
30-06, chunk, chunk, chunk.
Yeah, that would still be fun.
Because it does. It's a slow rate of fire.
Yeah.
So it's just like ka-kunk, 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 ka-kunk. So
Yeah,
yeah.
just sitting behind it. Just
Yep. That's all you're doing.
let's have some fun, right?
Yep. I've seen guys shooting them. Very interesting.
Yeah. Now all these other guns that are pretty cool.
Yep. Starting to think about
my
this stuff.
I know, right?
So Browning BAR.
yeah. Okay.
What do
okay.
you got? Number
So,
5?
I almost, when I saw your list, I was like, oh yeah, that Browning would be fun to shoot, right? But you know what? Another one popped in my head, and I alluded to it earlier.
Okay.
Recently, I was training at a range in Phoenix, and they were testing one of these since this company apparently is based there,
Okay.
or they have a division there. I don't know, but there's a presence there.
Okay.
And so we're on the range, and we heard it, and everything stopped.
Okay.
We're on the range like, was that what I thought it was?
Oh, boy.
And of course, we're grinning like Pez dispensers, and we're just like, and we couldn't focus for, until they were done shooting. It was the Dillon minigun.
Well, that's the little brother to the Sea-Wiz. There
Yeah,
you go.
I know. There might be a theme here. I don't know.
Dillon minigun. Wow.
But that one is a little more approachable on the civilian side.
A little
if you
bit.
get to the right context.
Yeah. A little bit.
Like they told me, like if we had some time and could have scheduled ahead of time,
yeah.
they would have let us gone down there and probably could have.
There's
press the trigger a little
many
bit.
companies in the U.S. that have them on the civilian side, and you can
Oh, yeah.
shoot them. They take it in machine gun shoots. But the ultimate is there's a company in Texas that has them mounted on a helicopter,
Yeah.
and you can go up and shoot it from the helicopter. That's on the short bucket list right there. So, yeah,
But yeah, just that buzz.
I know that buzz.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's something that gets your attention.
absolutely.
And it was kind of cool. Like I saw him pulling it out when it was I think it was on a trailer. But they were bringing it out after their test. I was just like,
That's
bring it
wild.
here. Come down here. I
Dylan,
want
you
to
got it.
shoot it.
I like it.
It's those things that would be cool to shoot.
Would be cool. Just we never had an opportunity. Yeah.
I don't want to pay for the ammo.
Yeah, right.
So so Dylan, if you guys are listening to the podcast,
Yeah, hey.
if you need
'em
somebody to test once in a while, I will volunteer my time.
Bounce your mind.
And I'll fly down, and depending where it is, I'm not gonna, if it's in like Phoenix area, I'll fly there. I'll spend a couple of days. You need somebody just to test and press the trigger and give you some results. Other than, yeah, I'll do it. I'm in. Sign me up.
Nice.
I'll do it.
Nice.
So I don't know. That was my list for fun.
Yeah.
What do you think, man?
So when we got here, I had my 5, and then I actually had another one pop in my head that I actually really wanted to shoot for years.
Really?
Kind of wasn't thinking about it, and it just kind of jumped in. So I have an honorable mention.
Hold on one second.
Yeah.
I honestly am surprised that so far you've been able to limit it to 5.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. That's true.
I struggle to get one or
So
two.
I'll be honest. The reason is I have shot a lot of freaking guns.
Okay.
I mean, I've gone, especially like machine gun shoots and stuff.
Yeah.
There was a few years where I was going to 2 or 3 machine gun shoots in a year, and you pay $30 and you get to shoot a magazine through a whatever Thompson submachine gun.
Yeah.
Or, you
Okay.
get to run a short belt through a M60. So I've shot a lot of that stuff, but this was another one I've seen them. I've never actually even seen one being shot,
right,
but
so hit us.
it's the Lati 20 millimeter anti-tank rifle. Yeah, this thing, giant anti-tank rifle, and we'll say anti-tank, like World War One era, and between World War One and World War Two, this would have been used to actually take out tanks
So
of the time.
I'm envisioning the backstop that you would need for that. would be,
giant.
a Mesa,
Yeah,
where I was
yeah.
training in Colorado.
Right, exactly.
Like 972 foot tall, gigantic thing that's been there for, I don't know, a few 100 million years.
Yeah, I mean these things are like 6 feet long. The barrels are huge.
That would be
it's,
cool.
It's insane.
Yeah.
20 millimeter, huge 20 millimeter rounds.
I'd be happy with shooting one.
Yeah,
Just one round.
One round would probably do it.
That would do it.
The recoil is ridiculous, but I've been interested in shooting one of these. It's got to be 20 plus years.
What? Okay, so what sparked the interest?
That's it. That's the question.
Right.
There's a book called Unintended Consequences by John Ross,
Okay.
and this gun plays a key role in the book.
Interesting.
Almost to the point where I won't say he wrote the book around this gun, but it definitely was written into this story for sure by him.
It was his
So,
bestie in the book.
it is. So,
Wow.
yeah. But the Lati 20 millimeter anti-tank rifle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody got one?
Those are out there. I know they're out there. Yes.
Does anybody have one?
Hit me up. I'm your guy.
So, the other one talking about making Matt's year, this would probably make his decade.
Yeah, that one would. That one really would.
That would make his decade.
Yeah, it's weird
I don't
because I
know.
haven't thought about it in a while, right?
Yeah.
And then this kind of got me
Ed
thinking. I'm
come
like,
up with a list and
bam, there
it is, right?
There it is. So, yep.
All right, cool.
Very cool.
So that's our list.
Yeah.
What's yours?
Let us
Hey,
know what
what's
you would
yours?
like to shoot. We'd really like to hear that.
I think it would be interesting to see the list that you guys come up with. Now,
Yeah.
don't have to try to come up with 5, but give us 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And
What's
then,
on your
put
top,
it in there. and
top
we'll-
couple.
And then, hey, why not? I think it'd be kind of cool to find out what your list might be.
Please.
Other than that, Matt,
Hey guys,
give
thanks.
us the exit.
Thanks for being here. We really appreciate your support. Please, please, please like, subscribe, share this out, get it to your friends, and then mash
Smash that
notification button.
Also, don't forget, support us on Patreon, because the more you
Yes.
support us on Patreon, the more we can get to do. You know,
Yeah.
we've got a lot of plans. We're getting into weather where we can get to the range a lot now.
Got some plans
And
going on.
we've got some fun stuff we got lined up.
Absolutely.
So other than that, see you at the next one.
Hey, thank you.